All right, just waiting on a few people to log in. Still talking about culture. What's up, Jay Hart? Still talking about building culture in a program, not necessarily basketball, but any kind of program. I mean, I'm speaking specifically for basketball, but these points and values can be taken for any sport: football, basketball, baseball, soccer. It's just a matter of what you want to do. I got two sets of points. Both of them, one set has 3 points and the other set has 4 points. My last video, I talked about 10 steps to building culture. So we're going to pick up from there and piggyback off of that. I'm going to give a few more people a chance to see that I'm live, and we'll go from there. I know it's been a while since Full Court Press with Coach Jay has been on, but I'm back. Jay Hart, if you're still watching, give me a thumbs up and let me know that you can hear me okay. Or anybody watching, just let me know you can hear me. Can you hear me okay, everybody? Anybody that's in, can you hear me okay? Ryan Nicholson. Happy belated birthday, sir. I meant to hit you up the other day on your birthday. I got some ideas for you, Ryan. I think you'll like them, so I'm going to hit you up in the coming days. I promise not to be too long, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. Anybody that comes in, just give me a thumbs up that you can hear me pretty well. I'm still talking about culture and building culture in a program. Last time I was on, probably a couple weeks ago, no doubt, man. Last time I was on, I talked about 10 steps to, building culture, and it was build it. You got to hire the right staff, build trust, create program standards, accountability, develop competence, promote teamwork, challenge your team and your staff, be the example, and give recognition. So today, I'm going to go into a couple more different points about building culture, as I've been reaching out to some coaches and asking their opinions on culture, and I'm still doing that because as a young coach, I still want to grow and I can learn from everybody. What's up, Coach Satterwhite? So I'm going to start with the 4 Ps in building culture. For me, Trey, what's up? For me, it's just simply talking about it. This can be towards a recruiting deal, and when you're doing your basketball tryouts and you're cutting players, this can play in the factor, your 4 Ps. The first P in the 4 Ps is person. Person is the first P, and why am I saying person is because I'm asking, who are you? Who is that person? Where are you from? What's your name? Tell me something about you I don't know. If looking at you play basketball, I can see that you're a good athlete, but tell me something that you being a good athlete is not going to tell me. So for me, person. The second P is process. And if you have questions along the way as you pop in, just throw them up there and I'll answer them as they pop up. The second P is process. It's about talking about information. Can you learn? Can you learn the information that I'm giving you? Can you learn my system? Can you play well? Can you take in all the plays? Can you learn the plays? Can you remember the plays? Can you do multiple positions? Can you remember the things that I'm teaching you so that you can apply them to the game? Because practice is where you get a lot of the teaching, and the coaching actually, for me, in my opinion, the coaching actually takes place in the game as well as in practice. But the learning process takes place in practice. That's why they call it practice, because you have to learn in there. So can you learn? Can you learn to be a better player? Can you learn to be a better athlete? Can you learn to run the play if you're a point guard, can you learn to play at the 2 if I had to put both point guards out there? If you're a 4, can you learn to play at the 5? If you're a 3, can I move you down to the 4? Vice versa. Or if you're in what we call tweeners. I call them a 3.5. Can you play the three? Can you play the wing position, and can you play both post spots, the 4 and the 5? It's just a matter of, can you do it? The next one, to me, is very, very, very important. The third P is, so the first P was person, who are you? The second P was process, can you learn? Can you retain, with the process, can you retain that information? Because you make it understand the information and how it's given to you, but can you retain it? Because if I go tell you that 2 + 2 is 4, but you can't retain that when I come back 3 days later, what's up, Will? I'm talking about the 4 Ps in building culture. I know you're coming in a little late. The first one was P. The first P was person, who are you? And I'm discussing right now the second P is process. Can you learn the information? So if I teach you 2 + 2 is 4, can you retain that information? So if I tell you that we're going to run box, but I tell you to run box from taking the ball out of bounds, can you retain the information? What's up, B-Trap? Can you retain the information of knowing that this guy's going to the corner, this guy's going to cut to the basket first, this guy's going to set the last screen, he's going to roll back, he's your third option? Can you remember all those options if you're the guy? You good, man. I started on time. I'm just really getting going. Can you retain that information? Not only can you process the information and learn the information, but can you retain it? Because retaining the information is going to be the biggest part of it. Because if I put you in the game, you can learn it in practice, but if I put you in the game, you can't remember it, that means you didn't retain it. So process is not only can you learn the information, but can you retain the information? My third one is most important to me personally. B-Trap can attest to this. Will can attest to this. Me and Will played together overseas. Me and B-Trap that's on here, we played together AAU. Third P is pace. And my biggest question is, when I'm in the high school hallways trying to get people to come play, my question is, can you dribble with your strong hand? Can you make a layup? And can you run? Why am I asking you, can you run? Because I want to know if you can play fast. So that's where P comes in for pace. Can you play fast? Because I want to play fast. And a lot of times playing fast doesn't really require you to be a basketball player, but it does require you to be an athlete. What's up, Coach Wiley, Russell Gabriel? It does require you to be an athlete. It doesn't always require you to be a basketball player, but it does require you to be an athlete. And I tell people a lot of times, if you give me 2 legitimate basketball players that can score the ball and you put me 3 or 4 athletes around them, 3 athletes on the floor and then another 1 or 2 coming off the bench, I got a team that can beat you because we're going to be more athletic than you. Ed Geff, my former best friend, now he's still my best friend. He just fired me at times. What's good, big boy? That's right. So can you play fast? So I always ask them that. They be like, I can't make a layup, but I can run. Okay, cool. I can teach you how to make a layup. I can teach you how to ball handle and dribble with your strong hand, or I can just give you a simple rule. Mr. Cochran, president at SMC, I'll teach you to use your strong hand, and if nothing else, I'll give you a rule that says when you get a steal because of your athleticism, hold it and find somebody that can get the ball, give it to the first available person who can dribble the ball. But because of fundamentals in practice, I'm going to teach you how to dribble with your right hand or your left hand, whichever hand is dominant for you, so that you can get a steal and take 1 or 2 dribbles to find somebody else. So the biggest P for me is being able to play fast. That's pace. So can you play fast? Because to me, if you can run, I don't care if you can shoot. I really don't care if you can do much else. If you can run, I'm going to teach you how to play defense. I'm going to put you in a stance. Your athleticism will take over and become a natural reaction for you when it comes to defensive sliding, when it comes to reacting to certain plays in the game, because you're an athlete. It's natural for you. Phil Fulmer said at Tennessee he didn't recruit 1 sport athletes. And his reasoning behind that was, I recruit 2 sport athletes because if you're a defensive back and then I need to move you to safety, then you're able to adjust because you're an athlete. You're used to doing it. Or if you play quarterback, but I need you to come play slot wide receiver, you can do it. So for me, if you're an athlete, the biggest thing is, can you run? If you can run and you can catch, that already solves half of the problem. And then if you can make a layup, and I don't have to teach you that, that's already a bonus. But because you're an athlete, I can teach you how to play defense my way. That means you're going to be able to trap. That means you're going to react right. all those things will come into play. Which leads me into my last P. For those that are just now popping in, I'm talking about 4 Ps in building culture. The first one was person. Who are you? The second P was process. Can you learn? Can you retain the information that you're being taught? And obviously, I was just talking about the third P, which is pace. The last P is production. Do you value your role? As a player, if you're not the guy that's scoring 20 points a game, leading the team in scoring and getting all the hype, do you really value your role? For me, when I got to the D-League, I wasn't the leading scorer on the team. We had 3 guys that came out of the Lakers preseason camp, and I knew all 3 of them. But one of them was Joe Crawford that played at Kentucky. I mean, he was an all-SEC performer. I mean, he was 28 points a game, 20-something points a game, might have been like 26 points a game. Comprehension and capability is critical. You're right, Brandon Trapp. That is very critical. So I understood. And then Brandon Heath, he played at San Diego State. He was leading scorer at San Diego State. They played well. I mean, these guys were legitimate in the NBA. They were in the training camp for whatever reason. But I knew I needed a role. I was an undersized big. My coach in the camp had already told me that you can't play the 5 because you're only 6'7". I need you to play the 4. I said, I can play the 5 better than your guys that are playing the 5 right now. He was like, you can't do it. I said, give me a chance, because we were running the triangle. So I got in. I caught the ball. I posted up a 7-footer, caught the ball, dropped off a layup, dropped off another pass. Then I scored on the 7-footer, and I subbed myself out, and I asked the coach, I said, you still believe I can't do it? He was like, let me see you do it again. So I did the same things again. So I was on the team with the 3 NBA guys, myself, and a guy named Jasper Johnson. Do your job. That is very big, John Foster, and that's why I'm talking about it. So I was on the team. I was in there. So then they put us on defense. So what was I doing? Because at Western Kentucky, Dennis Felton instilled values of talking on defense. So what was I doing? I was talking on defense. I got your help. I got your help. I got ball. I got ball. I got your help. I'm behind you. Push up. Push up. I'm behind you. And if they get beat, I'm in there stepping and trying to take a charge. Well, you know, the NBA has that line, so some of them are called blocks. But at the end of the day, the coach went in and said, hey, he was talking on defense. This is something y'all can take a page out of his book because it was good for him today. I made the D-League team because I was able to be the dirty guy, take charges, play defense, rebound, and play my role. So I played my role. So do you value your role? Is that the role that's going to be talked about in the stat sheet? No, it was not. But when we played the Bakersfield Jam, they had a guy named Richard Hendricks who played at Alabama, all SEC performer. He's supposed to be this and supposed to be that. Yes, you did. You would catch and shoot that thing, B-Trap. When we get double team or we kick it to you, you knock that thing down. So when I had to play Richard Hendricks, man, he was like, he's big, he's going to do this, he's going to do that. I was like, Coach, I got him. I was like, Coach, I'm not really worried about scoring. I'm just going to play defense and lock him up. And that's what I did. So I locked him up because it was important for me to do that because he was their leading scorer. So now that I've done that, it helped our team win games when playing teams like that. So I valued my role. Now, in high school and college, high school, I was a scorer. My freshman year in college, I scored, but I was able to play a role, play defense, rebound, do all the little things, be in help side. Then as my junior and senior year, my role changed. Hey, Davia. My role changed. I was more of a scorer, rebounder. I was third leading scorer my junior year, and then my senior year, I was leading scorer, second leading scorer, but one of the leading rebounders in the league, all Big West performer, all the above. So I was but I understood my role because my role was my senior year. I had to score along with my point guard for us to win or have a chance to win. I had to score. It wasn't no option. My first year overseas, on my first team, I had to score. For my team to have a chance, I was playing with a bunch of young guys. I had to score. So do you value your role? So young people, if you're watching this, how are you? So young people, if you're watching this video or if you watch this, coaches, share this video with your players because they need to understand that if you're the person that's guarding the best player every game, that's important. Or if you're the person that's getting 10, 12 rebounds every game, that's important. If you're the person that's the point guard that's running the offense, getting everybody involved, that's important. Rajon Rondo did that when the big 3 got together in Boston. Kevin Garnett, Ray Allen, and Paul Pierce. Rajon Rondo, they were like, how's they going to run that? How are they going to share the ball? Rajon Rondo understood. Okay, Paul Pierce is hot right now. Let me get him the ball. Okay, KG's got a mismatch. KG feeling good. Let me get him the ball. Or Ray Allen's open in the corner. Let me get him a shot. Or better yet, here, Paul Pierce, KG, you and Paul play in the pick and roll. I'm over here in the corner, and I'm going to make the extra pass to Ray Allen in the corner. They understood their roles. That first year, they understood it quicker than that Miami team did. So the first year with Miami, yes, true freshmen most times are defensive first, offensive second. Absolutely, true fact. Unless you're Zion, of course, and a couple other freshmen that come in and play right away. So that big three with Boston worked better than the big three with the first year with Miami with Wade, LeBron, and Chris Bosh, because they didn't understand their roles. All three of them were used to scoring. They were used to being ball dominant. They were used to always having the ball. So it finally took – I'm a Laker fan, so stop that Celtic pride. It finally took Mario Chalmers to grow and mature as a player to then be able to lead that team the way he did. And then Dwayne Wade did something big. He took a step back and said, LeBron is your team, play your game, and we'll feed off of you. And then everybody learned their role. And then, of course, they went on to win 2 championships and losing 2. So, again, the 4 Ps are important. As a coach, find out who your players are. Who are you? Where are you from? What is important to you? Why do you play basketball? Why do you want to play basketball? What is your goals with basketball? Second P, process. Can you retain the information? Can you learn? You got to be able to learn. If you can learn it, you got to be able to retain it. If you can't retain it, it's like schoolwork. If you can't retain the information, then what are you really learning? Pace. Can you play fast? That is big for me. Can you play fast? Play fast. Play fast. Production. Do you value your role? You have to value your role. If you don't value your role, there's a big problem because there's going to be, it's like a closed fist. You don't go fight a fist fight like this or like this or like this. You have to be like this. And this means every finger I have is playing their part. So that's how one of my college coaches described it. If we're like this, we're hard to beat. Okay. So that was my first set of points, the 4 Ps. You're right. The second set of Ps goes into, what's up, Coach Jones? State runner-up right there, 5A. The second set of Ps goes into if you're taking over a program that already kind of has a set roster, high school, college, whatever, first thing you need to do is, you need to evaluate and assess what you have. What do I mean? You need to evaluate and assess the talent that you have, the players that you have returning, and their abilities. Why do you have to do that? Because then that lets you know what you have to prepare for in practice, which is the next point, prepare. So when you assess and you evaluate, you're seeing what you have. You're seeing if they fit your style of play, your system, and they fit your standards for your program. And then you know from there how to go about choosing your team, keeping players, or letting players go. Don't go in and be the hard guy that's going to come in and just be like, this is my team, you're going to do it my way, the hard way, or if you ain't going to do it my way, you're out of here. No. Assess. Evaluate. I used to be that guy where I come in, oh, no, you're not going to play on my team. Nope. You're not going to play on my team. You don't know what that player needs. Maybe they can adjust. Maybe they just need you to tell them what you expect. That's where your expectations and your standards come in. Show them. Ask them, can you do this? Ask them in the summer. Don't cost them a whole year because you wait till October or October 31st to say, okay, you're not going to be a part of my team. And then it's their senior year and then now they have nothing. Don't do that. Assess early. Matter of fact, if you get the job in the spring, start assessing then. Whole individual workouts. You can put 4 people in the gym. Hold those. What's up, Coach Moss? You can hold those individual workouts. Hold them. See what you got. Assess the talent. Assess the level. And while you're assessing them, you're looking to see how they fit into your system. If they fit into your system, then you understand how you'll be able to understand how you're going to use them in your system, how they're going to be successful, how they're going to make your team successful, but how they're going to be successful as an individual as well. But the team aspect of it is important. So evaluate, assess, See what you got. See if they fit your standards and your expectations. If they can't do what you're asking them to do, then therefore they don't need to be a part of your program. And some coaches, what's up, Rick Good? Some players understand that. Some players can walk in, I can't play for you. Like for me, when Darren Horn took over for Dennis Felton at Western Kentucky, I knew right away I couldn't play for him. I went through the spring, I went through the summer because my coaches, the two coaches that recruited me, asked me to stay, and they asked me to give him a chance. I gave him a chance. I knew I couldn't play for him. I have respect for him. He's doing a great job at Northern Kentucky. He did a great job at Western Kentucky. He went on to he came to South Carolina, did an okay job there. He was at Texas as an assistant for the last few years. What's up, man? And then now he's the head coach at Northern Kentucky, which was a very good Northern Kentucky team, and I think they were going to make the tournament this year. I have a lot of respect for Darren Horn, but I knew I couldn't play for him. So you know right away when you can play for somebody and when you can't. It just, as a player, you understand that. So instead of losing respect between the two parties, you separate. All right. So my next point in this is prepare. You have to prepare. You know what you have now because you've assessed. You know what's coming. I agree with the coach. Initial assessment is critical, and some coaches fail terribly at that. Yes, they do. So now you have to prepare. Now you know what you got in players. You know what you got as a team. So now you start to prepare them. How are you preparing them? I think some college coaches, and I'm not a college coach, but this is my personal opinion. Whether there's right or wrong, then oh well, but it's my opinion. I think some college coaches go wrong when they don't recruit guys or girls who fit their system. If you play fast, you don't need to go recruit a 6'10", 270-pound big man that posts up on the block. That don't go together. I'm not saying you turn it down, but that don't go together if you're going to play like this the whole time. That's one thing I respected about Darren Horn. Darren Horn wanted to play fast. So he 6'8", 6'9", was about as big as he was going to get, and they were all string beans, but they could run the floor, and they were athletic. If you're a slow-down coach, I'm not going to go get this guy 6'10", 215 to be my center. I'm going to go get the 6'10", 270 guy, and I'm going to come down, and I'm going to feed it inside to him, and I'm going to feed it inside to him, and I'm going to feed it inside to him, and I'm going to put me some spot-up shooters that can't do anything else but catch and shoot, and maybe can put it on the floor for one dribble. What's up, Coach Lane? Congratulations on a great season up there at Clover. Thank you, Coach Fair. I'm over and feed it. So you have to recruit your system. And even when you're high school coaches, when you're picking your teams, you know how you play. That's why Villanova wins. Yep, they recruit the players that fit their system. Catch and shoot guys, put the ball on the floor. They have one traditional big who knows how to play his role and set screens and roll to the basket. Exactly. That's why I use that offense now too. With that being said, excuse me, high school coaches, you know what kind of system you run. You know if you play slow. You know if you run the flex. You know if you run a Princeton-style offense. You have to find those guys to pick it. I'm not saying in high school, if you got a guy that comes to your gym that can knock down 25 points a game, no matter what system he's in, yes, you keep him. Okay? Don't be stupid. But at the same time, you're not going to pick 5 guys like that because you still need guys that are going to be role players because you ain't got but one basketball. Okay? Now, if you got 2 guys that's putting up 20 and everybody else is being role players, it happens. It works. It happened in my college team. So prepare. Now that you're preparing your team, you know that your practices should be catered to the offense or drills. What's up, Xavier? To the offense or defense that you're running. For me, with the Villanova offense, a lot of my practices is catch and shoot, working off the pick and roll. We're playing up tempo because I play up tempo. We're working on our fast break, and I break the fast break down from starting at 3-0 to go to 4-0, finally to 5-0. You do fast break drills. You do drills that are catered to your system. If you don't do drills that are catered to your system, then how is your team expected to perform when it's time to play the game? You didn't prepare them for your system. So, therefore, if you didn't prepare them for your system, you can't expect them to go out and do exactly what you want them to do if you're not preparing them. You have to prepare them as a whole, okay? So that's where the prepare comes in. And then thirdly, the last point of that is execute. Now you're going to execute your plan. It takes time. Now at South Carolina, you have that 6 weeks from September to the next to last week in October or something like that, and you got to take 2 weeks off, you got 6 weeks to go ahead and get the initial learning out of the way, the initial preparation. Because now when you get in November, you're going to have your tryouts. And you should know who you're going to keep by then, because anybody that's interested in basketball should be at those workouts. So then you're going to have so in November you get here, you're trying to play scrimmages to see your preparation be executed. So now I'm executing. Okay. So prepare whatever your system. If you run the flex, work on setting screens. If your offense is the prison style offense, work on making passes to guys cutting to the basket off the backdoor offense. If it's going inside, work on feeding the post. If it's playing a 2-man game, work on playing a 2-man game. If it's a 3-man game, work on it. You have to work on those things. Like when I was in the D League, we were playing a triangle. Everything we did was catered to the triangle. Catch and shoot, how to pass on the inside, how to make the certain cut, where exactly to post up at, where exactly to catch the ball, how to make certain passes out of it. It's an art to everybody's offense. I'm not knocking anybody's offense, but I like a more free-flowing offense to score off of. I like my defense to create my offense. And if I get set in the half court, I'm not going to give you all my secrets because somebody might be watching. I might have to play against you one day. But I like a free-flowing offense. Appreciate it, Patrick. I like a free-flowing offense to where I allow my guys to be free and create and make plays. Make sure your players at the end of the day don't become robots. Excuse me. Make sure your guys don't become robots. Because if you drill pass here, cut here, pass there, cut here, go set this screen, go do this, go do that, and all they know is option one. If option one don't work, look for option two. And if option two don't work, option three. And if option three don't work, then look for option four. And then if there's no option five, that's where your offense gets stagnant. At the end of the day, it's called basketball. You got to be able to put the ball in the hole. So you have to be able to create plays. So make sure that your guys can make plays. That's why I like the more free-flowing offense, to where my guys are going to attack the gaps, pitch it back to the guy who's curling behind, either for a shot or he's going, or we got my big who will come out and set random pick and rolls and we're going. And, with that being said, make sure your team has an identity. I'm not afraid to tell you my identity of my teams. We're going to rebound like crazy, offensively and defensively. Definitely offensively. We're going to the basket. We're going to the offensive boards every single time. Why? Because I emphasize it. In practice, if you don't go to the offensive glass, I stop and say, why y'all watching? Kids are going to do what you emphasize. Yes, you're practicing it and you're preparing for it, but they're also going to do what you emphasize the most. Block out. Block out. Why you didn't block out? Who missed that block out? Why you wasn't in the help side? You're supposed to be on the help side. They're going to do exactly what you emphasize in practice. So I emphasize offensive rebounding. And on defense, I put major pressure. And I emphasize pressure. Full court. The entire time. Up 30. Not necessarily down 30. But down 30, I'm still doing it. I'm trying to come back. So some kind of way, I'm still putting pressure on you. Because why? And some people say, why are you still pressing at the... I'll address that. But my 4 Ps were person, pace, process, production. 3 points were evaluate, assess, prepare, and execute. But some people ask coaches, why are you still pressing at the end of the game and you're up 30 and the other team's not coming back? Well, got the players that are in the game, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15, they don't know anything else. If all you've been preaching is press, trap, go to the offensive glass, pray hard, put pressure on, trap a ball screen, rotate here, take charges. If that's all you're preaching, that's all they're going to do. If you make them do anything else, they're going to mess up. So stick to your values. Stick to your values. Stick to what you do as a coach. Stick to your principles and roll with it. Another basketball coach will understand if you tell them exactly what I just stated. They're the bottom of my crew. They don't know anything else. So when they get in the game, the only thing they're going to do is what they've been taught. I know it seems like it doesn't seem like good sportsmanship. It doesn't. But if you take a team that's used to pressing all the time and stick them back in a 2-3 zone, they're probably going to mess up because they don't know what to do. They may know how to play a 2-3 zone, but they're going to find it's going to be eventually break down at some point. Or if you just stick them back into a regular man-to-man, they're going to eventually break down if that's not something that you discuss. Just like a team that sits in a 2-3 zone the whole game is not going to be able to go out and be an effective pressing team if that's not what you practice on a daily basis. I have drills catered to, we're going to trap. I play 1-on-2. Well, 2-on-2. The guy got to get the ball in bounds. Once he gets it in bounds, now that one has to try to beat my 2 trapping. If they don't trap it effectively, we do it again. I have another drill where I teach my guys or girls to come from behind, and I teach you how to poke the ball away correctly without getting a foul. But because I speed you up to do something that you're not used to doing, it's fine. It's good for us because that's not what you're used to doing. If you're used to walking the ball at the court, running offense for a minute and a half before you take a shot, me speeding you up is to my advantage. If I sit back and let you run all those kind of plays and run them over and over and over, you're going to pick my team apart. I've had it happen to me. You pick my team apart. But when I speed teams up that aren't used to doing that, because at the end of the day, the pace of your practice is not the same pace as my practice. My practice is fast, which is in my preparation. You're not, and it's in my 4 P's of P is, what's up, Craig? I am preparing my team to play fast and teaching my kids their production, which is their value, their role. So I'm teaching them their role as they play. This is a conversation we have a team meeting before just about every practice, especially in the early part of the season. So coaches, if I can tell you anything, use those 4 P's. The person, ask who your players are. Some coaches don't even know who their players are when they leave practice. What kind of person is he in the hallway? What kind of person is he in the classroom? Or in college, what kind of person is he on campus? Even in high school, what kind of person is he on campus? Who are you? What do you go home to every day? Because some kids live for their basketball practice. Because when they go home, their home life is not that great. Process. Make sure your kids are learning the information. Not only are they learning it, make sure they're retaining the information. Because like I said earlier, I can teach you 2 + 2 all day, but if you can't remember that it's 4, that means you didn't retain the information. So I didn't do a very good job of teaching it, or you just weren't paying attention, or you just can't retain information. I got to figure out which one it is. I'm going to go with, I didn't teach it to you well, so I'm going to have to break it down and teach it to you again. And that's the coach's job. Pace. Can you play fast? Can you play fast? Production. Do you value your role? Make sure you're doing your role, producing at your role. Whatever your role on the team is, make sure that you are producing at your role. Coaches on the other side of it. Make sure we're evaluating and assessing the program, where the program is coming from, the kind of players that it has, the kind of players that it currently has, the kind of players that it used to have, and what's coming. If you have a program that has a varsity, junior varsity, 9th grade, and middle school, evaluate what's coming through the thing. Put your face out there with the middle school team so they know. Prepare in practice. Preparation, prepare. Work your system in your practice, in your drills, in your emphasize. That's emphasizing. Like I said, I emphasize offensive rebounding like crazy. Execute. Then you got to execute the plan. But you can't execute it until you've done the evaluation and the assessing, and then you've prepared your team the proper way. Then if the execution is not right, or it's not to your standards, you have to go back and prepare again. Okay, so that's still talking about building culture. I'll probably come back with Full Court Press with Coach Jay, probably maybe tomorrow. If not, I'll be back on Monday. Still talking about building culture. I'm stuck on this culture thing because for one, I want it to be something that I am better at the next time I get a program. But I also want to make sure that every coach that watches understands what it's like to build culture. I got a whole PowerPoint on culture that I've created because I've been asking coaches, talking to coaches, trying to figure out what's going on, and all I'm doing is making it my own. So the next one will probably be the 4 culture pillars. I'll give you a sneak preview. Those are brotherhood or sisterhood, trust, grit, and integrity. I'll probably add to those, but we're definitely going to talk about those 4. Yeah, and I'm scheduled to have a conversation with a couple other coaches, and I'm just trying to figure it out. So, coaches, share this video. Even if you're not a coach, share this video, because there may be some young kid who's an athlete on your team or on your Facebook friends list. Share it. Always open for questions. You can post them here. You can send them to me in the inbox. I like different topics. I'll address it. I mean, if I need to change from culture, I'll change from culture. But right now I'm talking about culture. Building a program. Creating the culture that you want in your program. All right. I appreciate everybody that tuned in. This has been Friday, April 10th edition of Full Court Press with Coach Jay.